We'll take a look at the Google equivalent of the Microsoft Office products that you should be already familiar with, such as Word, PowerPoint, Excel. Those are the most commonly used Office products. And so when you're working with Google Apps, Google has their version of each of these products. Now, are they the same? No, there's some subtle differences between the two, but I will say that it depends on what you're trying to accomplish. One may be preferable than the other. So let's start with probably the one used most common is Google Docs. So if I go over here to you have a couple of choices. You can go to this grid here, left click, and again, if you have the education suite, you probably have this in this quick access box. If you don't and you want it, if you have a personal account, you can add that to this quick reference. If you don't and you are part of a company or somewhere where you don't have control over this, you have to contact your IT administrator and they can add it. But if you don't have that here, you can also go over here and click New and then go down to Google Docs. Okay. So the first thing you'll probably notice that it looks very similar to any kind of word editing software, especially like Microsoft Word, but nowhere near the amount of, I guess, bells and whistles that you would see on Microsoft Word. Okay, but it does have, I will say that it has basically the more commonly used functions that most people would use in Microsoft Word. So let's title this and call this training document 1. And then we can give this a title as well. Okay, so inside of my Google Drive, inside that training folder, I'm going to have a file, a Google Doc file that's called Training Document 1, and then here's the heading. And you have you should be used to these type of features like changing the font, changing the font here, changing the size of it, bold, italicize, underline, centering, and spacing. These are very similar, and this is what most people typically use. And then up here you have things such as like adding, inserting a table, and so on and so on. So these things are, if you're used to having the 200-300 different options in Word and you use all of them, then yes, you probably want to stick with Word. But I would say the average, most teachers typically use these basic functions here, so it makes it very convenient. One thing you also want to point out is that you see right here where it says saving. Okay, every time I make any type of change, it's constantly updating. I'm going to take this off bold. Okay. All right, so as I'm typing, as I'm adding text to this and making any type of modifications to this, it's constantly saving. So you don't have to go file, save, or even with the shortcut Control S, you don't even have to do that. It's constantly saving. And this is convenient because in case the power goes out or something happens, boom, then your document is still backed up to the last thing that you've done to it. So let's say I just click this out. Okay? Now I'm back in that training folder, and you notice that here is that training document that I created, and I can left click, open it right back up, and here it is. And this can happen you can go to any computer, pretty much any computer in the world that's connected to the internet, and you'll have access to your Google document. Now I can also share this with someone. And so if I go over here, I can click share, and then I type in their email address and then click done, and it will share it. Now I can allow them to change and edit this as well, or you may just want them to they can only make comments on it, or all they can do is just view it. So you can give them these three different levels of access, but you can share this document with other people. And this is convenient, again, when you're working in groups or departments and you guys are working on a common, a fluid document that will constantly change throughout the school year.